Right, quiet please. Projectiles. So, this is the last couple of bits for space. So, what is projectile? If I said to you the word projectile, what does that mean? You've heard it somewhere before. I know you have, because I have heard it before as well. Now, the person that I would almost guarantee has heard that word before would be Scott. Where have you heard the word projectile before? Projectile vomiting, well done. What is projectile vomiting? Yes. You're sick when you're going very fast. So in a car. So tell me something about it.
It's like mass sickness.
Your sickness is projectile vomiting. Mass sickness, so there's a lot of sick. No, that's not what projectile vomiting means. Most people, listen, I know it's a bit gross, but think about it. If you're sick, you're feeling sick, you've got a cold, say, right? Smaller kind of, and it kind of comes out, right? It kind of dribbles out, or you put your head over the toilet, and it kind of goes, and it all comes out, right? If you were sitting up straight, and you went, and just got all down your chin. I know. So imagine this is your face, okay? Here's your mouth, here's your nose. Now, a normal vomit, if you were to stand up straight, a normal vomit would go down the way, okay? Generally, maybe you've got like a flu or something and you've had a dodgy meal even, sometimes it comes out like that. Now that's not what projectile vomiting is. Projectile vomiting is it coming out to the point where it does what? Somebody else answer.
Flying out.
Right, John, what do you think?
Because flying out.
Because flying out. So it's going to come out like this. Yeah! So it goes out and it curves down. It goes bleh. That is projectile. That is a projectile. What a link, eh? This is a projectile. Projectile is when it goes like that and down. It follows a curved path. So a projectile, in terms of projectile vomiting, if you were a projectile vomiting and you were lying on your back and you're particularly good at projectile vomiting, so let's say you're lying on your back and you projectile vomit and you're absolutely brilliant at it. For some reason you have perfected the art of projectile vomiting. You have managed to hone your body to become the best projectile vomiter in the world. And your stomach muscles were so strong that you could really get it out there. And you make yourself sick as a profession, your projectile vomits would go like this. Isn't that awesome? Imagine you could do that, lying on your back and fly. So that's what it would do. Now that is a projectile. A projectile is something that follows a curved path. Now it doesn't have to be projectile vomiting, but that's the word that you associate it with. Projectile to me means, and my first thing I think of is projectile vomiting. I don't know why, it just seems to be one of those words. Okay? So, projectile vomiting will help you remember the fact it shoots out to the point where it forms a curved path. Now, a lot of things are projectiles, apart from projectile vomiting. We have some examples of things that follow curved paths, but are not sick. Shannon, sorry, there you go. A ball. You kick a ball. You kick a football. It starts off on the ground, goes up, curves, comes back down again. That is a football. Football could follow that path. So you have a football, you kick the football, it goes up and comes back down again. Okay? That is a projectile. Yes. Jason. A rocket. You fire a rocket up, it will come back down. Most rockets, if you fire, maybe, depends how you shoot it. If you're going to shoot it at an angle like that, it's going to go up and then come back down and boom. Kaboom. Splat. Projectile vomiting again. Scott? See, that's what you Scott. Projectile vomiting and flying a brick. Okay, according to Scott, flinging a brick. So here's your brick. You fling a brick. Smash. At a windy. I am not condoning flinging a brick at a windy, but yes, you must work out the angle. You can't stand and fling it straight, because it won't go straight, it'll just go fall down. So projectile follow a curved path, and if you're good at flinging bricks, which I'm assuming Scott is, then he would break a windy. Okay, or maybe a slightly gentler touch is throwing eggs at a window, which I know a lot of you probably do in your spare time. Okay, so we're talking about curved paths here, right? So, can we take a nice safe one? Let's say a ball. Let's say a ball. Okay, so here's a ball. We kick it, and it follows a path which looks like this, and it lands here. Okay, just say it doesn't bounce just now. Let's say it's a really heavy ball. It stops. Oh, okay. Let's say we launch it from some kind of launcher, right? It lands like that. That's the path of the ball. Okay? What causes the ball to not just follow this path? So this is the projectile path. This is a different path. What's stopping it following that path? Just going straight up and just going out into space. What's stopping that do that? Robert? Gravity. So what does gravity do? What is gravity doing here? Robert, tell me. Gravity is pulling things back down to Earth. Gravity pulls everything back down to Earth. What force does gravity cause? What force does gravity cause? Stuart. What force does gravity cause? Don't get on the hands. What force does gravity cause? What's pulling me down just now? What force? Gravity's not a force, it's the weight. So the ball has a weight, so the ball will get pulled down. You're giving it the force to boost it up, but gravity starts to affect it and go, oh no you don't, and pulls you back down again. But you've obviously kicked it forward as well, so you're kicking it forward and down. Now, when we're doing something like this, okay, now, if I want to kick the ball as far as possible, but as high as possible, I need to split it in my head into two different parts. I need to split it up in terms of how much force I'm kicking it forward with, how much force I'm kicking it up with. If you're a really scaly player, you might just boot it and it just goes straight up. It doesn't go forward, it'll land your head. Right? So you boot it and it goes straight up. You're chipping it, just chipping it in a really weird way so it goes straight up. That is you consider, you've only kicked it in the vertical direction. So you can kick it straight up the way. So this would be the vertical direction. Vertical. You can also kick it this way, which is your horizontal. Vertic. What? God, I can't spell. Really, I'm bad, aren't I? Vertical. Vertical. There you go. Right, so you have two parts to this. You're taking the ball and you're giving it a bit forward and a bit up. You all understand that? Getting a bit of both. If I want this sponge to get launched up the way, I need to give it some forward and I also need to give it some up. If I want to go on a projectile, I give it some forward and some up. Right, so that's the projectile. It's a wee bit of this and a wee bit of this. At the same time, so if I give it this and this at the same time, it does that. Projectile. So we have two parts. We have what's called two components of the force, two components of the speed, two components of the velocity, two components of displacement, two components of its direction. We have its horizontal component, we have its vertical component, and they can be split separately and dealt with separately. Okay? Right. So this is two separate motions. Vertical and horizontal can be two separate motions. Okay, so vertical and horizontal parts can be considered. Can you copy this down, please? Copy the diagram down as well. Just a sketch. Nothing fancy, just a sketch. There's rulers in the trays should you need one. Copy diagram, copy this down. Vertical and horizontal parts can be vertical and horizontal parts can be treated as two separate motions, or treated as two separate parts, or can be treated as two separate motions. Okay, so copy that down. Vertical and horizontal parts can be considered two separate motions. Yeah, just do it too. I'm just considering the projector. Up to right. Okay, I'm right. Okay, we considered two separate parts.
Please put it back up. Please.
Right, quiet please. Right. Two separate parts here. Your horizontal part, your vertical part. Now, as we said before, what causes this curved path as opposed to the firing off? Gravity. So the Earth's gravity pulls it down. So if there was no gravity, so it would follow path 1 is no gravity, path 2 is with gravity. So if there was no gravity, it would follow path 1. Because of gravity, it follows part 2. So if there was no gravity, yes, no gravity, the ball would follow path 1. Gravity causes the ball to get pulled back down as in path 2. Path 2 is a projectile. Path 2 is your projectile. Almost the bell. So path 2 is your projectile. Okay? So two paths there. Gravity causes the object to come back down. So you get a horizontal part, vertical part, and the gravity is only acting in the vertical part and cause it to come back down. We'll look at this in a bit more detail next day and finish off with energy and then give you one page of revision. And then you get your test. Make sure you don't know the test dates. If you can't remember, check the website. All this will be on the website tonight. Okay?